I got married when I was 3 weeks from 21. Somewhere around that first couple of years, we were cleaning up our kitchen, doing dishes one night, and when I say kitchen, it's more like a closet with a sink, and the phone rang. It was one of those things where they wanted to give us 3 free ballroom dancing lessons. I told her thank you, and we wouldn't be interested, and I hung up. And my wife said, "Who was that?" And I said, "Just some lady offering us 3 free dance lessons." And she said, "Well, why didn't you ask me? I would have loved to have done that. I think it would have been fun. I've always wanted for us to dance together. We dated 4 years and we never danced together. We've been married how long and we haven't danced together. I want us to dance together. I think it would be fun." I said, "Okay, I'll make a deal. Next time we get a call for 3 free dance lessons, I will stop and I will ask you if you're interested, and then we will enroll." And she said, "That's all I want. I'm not upset. I just want to be asked." And I said, "Okay, note to self, new bridegroom, always ask." Easy enough. Time went on and there were always opportunities that we would be somewhere where there was dancing. Growing up Baptist, we were kind of told that, dancing led to playing cards in R-rated movies or something, and so we just weren't allowed to do it. At that point, I always avoided the opportunity. I would let Tricia visit with whomever at the event. I would find the bar. We were both happy, and we'd go home. Eventually, there were things going on in our lives that took the focus off of whether or not we were dancing. Not many years into our marriage, my wife was diagnosed with a swollen optic nerve. You see a black spot in your field of vision, and it doesn't go away. And you're constantly having to look around that black spot to see. We went to the doctor to have it checked out. He said it could be viral or it could be early onset MS. If she didn't have any other symptoms, then don't worry about it. Take these steroids, go home, it'll go away. And it did. Time went on, we moved to Nashville. We were walking in our neighborhood one night, and she began to have dizziness and blurred vision and tingling and numbness and inexplicable symptoms, and we had to go home. We got pregnant the first year we were in Nashville with our daughter. My wife had a normal pregnancy. She had a healthy baby, and life went on. When my daughter was 5, we were walking outside, and my wife experienced dizziness and loss of vision, and she was tripping a lot. And she had numbness in her feet and tingling in her hands. And she went to the doctor, and we were told she needed rest, and we were told she needed vitamins, and we were told that maybe she just needed to cut back on all of our activities. And we did that, and she continued to trip and have blurry vision and get dizzy. We went back to our family doctor, who told us that she would send her to a neurologist. She was sure we didn't have MS, but she'd send her to the neurologist and have her checked out. He did a number of tests, including an MRI, which actually at the time was new and became a definitive means of diagnosis for MS. The doctor called and said, "We have the test results. We need both of you to come in, and we'd like to talk about them." So we showed up at the doctor, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and then we got into the examining room, and we waited, and we waited, and that was the beginning of what I call waiting room hell. And I decided at that point, if God gave me the hours at the end of my life that I've spent in waiting rooms, I'll get 20 more years on the earth. The doctor came in, and he shook our hands, and he sat down at his table, and he threw the file on the top of the table, and he sat back and he folded his arms, and he looked at us for what felt like an eternity. And then he leaned forward, he took his glasses off, and he looked at Tricia, and he said, "Tricia, what do you have?" I was angry, shocked, annoyed, all at the same time. I don't even know an English word for it. They were looking at each other back and forth. I looked at her, I looked at him, I looked at her. Her eyes were welling up, and she said, "I have MS." And he said, "Yeah, you do." Now, what are we going to do about it? And again, I was annoyed because I thought, Einstein, we're here in your office. This is what you do. I don't know what the questions are here. And she looked at him and she waited, and he said, that's where I come in. There are some things I want you to do. I want you to get started on a drug. It's very new. It's very expensive. Are you planning on having any more kids? Because you can't be on this drug and get pregnant. And she said, well, yeah, we want to have another baby. He said, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you that time is of the essence, and you really need to be on this drug because it's the only thing we have that slows down the progression of the disease. Our daughter was 5 years old at the time. We did want to have more children, and we wanted to wait. After a few months, we had tried. There was no baby. We went back to the doctor. Trisha's condition had worsened, and he gave us some pretty sobering medical reality. And he said, Trisha, you can be a healthy pregnant woman. You can have a healthy baby, and then you'll probably have a relapse. When you do, your husband's going to have a 5-year-old and a baby and you're not going to be able to do anything. Is that what you want? And she said, I want the drug. And that was it. When she decided that she would go on this drug, I feel like that's when our lives pressed fast forward. And in that moment, everything became about learning insurance negotiations. Everything became about me learning how to give shots. Everything became all about the disease. And I feel like when she said, I want the drug, that's when the disease moved into our house. And it's been an unwelcome house guest for 15 years. The effects of the drug basically make her feel like she has the flu every other day. There's a slight low-grade fever, some chills, aches, doesn't feel well, so she'd have a good day and a bad day and a good day and a bad day until her body adjusted to the drug. This was all the beginning of what I call my skilled care initiation. I had to learn to give shots. Eventually, I had to learn to catheterize. Eventually, I had to learn how to treat pressure wounds. I've had to do more nursing care than I ever thought as a piano player I'd ever have to embark on. Trisha was in and out of facilities. She had 5 years of chemotherapy to try to arrest the progression of the disease. She's in a hospital bed at home on an air mattress. She gets in her wheelchair maybe once every 3 weeks. We have nurses that come in twice a week to bathe her, and another nurse that comes in and checks her. I do everything else. Her life is lived vicariously through other people, and she gets a lot of her experiences secondhand. What I want for her is that she not have a secondhand life. Once the disease was really in high gear, I happened to be having coffee with a friend, and he asked me if I had anything in this whole thing that I regretted. He was thinking that you didn't go on the drugs sooner, or that you might have tried this therapy, or that this could have happened, or that could have been different. He said, do you have anything that you regret? And I said, yeah, I wish we had danced.